beautiful. Let's give them another hand. Thank you. So before we start, I would like to invite Julie Matilla to please come up. You're in big trouble, girl. So this is our wonderful board president who single-handedly picked up chairs, put back chairs, would not allow me or others to help. She does the hospitality, or she has been doing it. She just does so much for us, and we all just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate it and we love you. And she does not like to ask for help. So promise me when you see her, you'll say, "Can I help you with anything?" Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's move into prayer. All this excitement. So we center in the joy. We center in the joy of being in the presence of the presence. Knowing that we are one spiritual community, one spiritual family. We are upon sacred holy ground, dancing with joy, celebrating spirit, celebrating one another, celebrating the early harvest that comes with the 1st of August. I am so blessed to be here with each and every single one of you. I lift each and every single person here and that will watch us and that even thinks of us, every single person on the planet, into joy, into love, into safety, into abundance, and to knowing that each is an individuated point of light of God. So from this moment of truth, I bless our time together, and I bless that whatever words I might speak are the right words for whoever is seeking to hear. And we affirm this together by saying, "Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Amen." And so it is. All right. So Chinese proverb says that the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. But the next best time is now. And is one that just began in ministry, that had this idea and this call 30 years ago. The best time really is now. And since we're speaking about early harvest today, what we're talking about is we are no longer getting ready to be ready. We're not waiting. It's not too late. Your time, my time, everyone's time is this moment right here, right now. It's the holy breath of God, of Spirit, saying yes. Next one, please. I want to talk a little bit about myth and spirituality. Myth is sacred storytelling. If we think about the parables of Jesus, you can interpret them as myth. They're narratives that explain mysteries. They talk about creation. They talk about those unfathomable things that we cannot wrap our minds around. But when we hear them in the form of myth, our heart knows. Something knows something even greater. I oftentimes think that myth is the way in which spirit shares itself with us, because we relate everything to the human perspective, to the here and now, to space-time reality. But there's something so much greater, and when it's put in myth and when it's put in spiritual terms, something in us just knows it. And so myths are not mere stories. They are spiritual maps. And today we're going to talk a little bit about that. The next one, please. We're going to be talking about spiritual wisdom. We're going to go a little bit into Celtic times and talk about Druid myths. We're going to talk a little bit about early Christian symbology of the 1st of August and what harvesting is. And to me, harvest is just stopping to gather what you already have and to know that you are giving thanks for that, no matter what it is, because we know that more is coming. Spirit knows this. And so when we give thanks for even something that is not yet the full harvest, it is saying, yes, thank you. I thank you for this, and I know that more is going to be coming forth. In our spiritual wisdom, we never stop and say, oh, this is not enough. You know, I always pick up a coin when I see it on the road, even if it's a penny. I don't know what I ever do with it. But I read someplace that if you don't do that and say thank you, then you're telling Spirit, oh, this is not enough. And so you just say thank you. Everything is enough. And in our spiritual wisdom, we're going to come to realize that each and every single one of us is enough right here, right now. We're not getting wiser. We don't need to learn more. We don't need to elevate ourselves with more classes, with more readings. We are enough. We are ready. The next. So this is a myth of Lughnasadh, and Lughnasadh is the August 1st celebration in the Celtic tradition. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story and its metaphysical interpretation in terms of how we would look at it within unity. So there was an evil king once, and he was the king of a land of chaos and violence and destruction. His name was Balor. And there was a legend that his daughter would fall in love with, his name was Sion, and he was a god. And he was the god of everything that was spiritual wisdom and that was good and that was love. And that they would birth a son whose name would be Lugh, and that he would defeat his grandfather in battle and restore peace to the land. So we see that Star Wars really didn't have a very original plot. Well, so Balor, having heard of this story, took his daughter and he locked her up in a tower so the two would never come together. But there was a woman, her name was, these are interesting names, Ithnio, but these are old Celtic stories, who had magical powers. And she allowed the two lovers to come together, and she had triplets. And so Balor, very upset at that, decided that he would kill the 3 little babies. But again, because of this woman with the magical powers, Lugh was the only one that was saved. And he was given to a woman by the name of Tiriu, which was a queen. She was a queen of harvest. And she raised him, and he had so many wonderful powers. He could do anything and everything in terms of arts and music and fighting and sports. And he grew into a young man, and he came upon the day of battle with his grandfather. Now, his grandfather was said that he could stare down an army, and the army would just perish. So what did Lugh do? He took a stone, and he threw it in his grandfather's eye, and he died, and so did his armies. But in the meantime, the woman that raised him, she, in anticipation of peace returning to this land, decided that she would prepare the land to be planted. And so she was working the land and cutting down trees and creating fields ready to be planted. And she died of total exhaustion of doing this. And so when he was finished killing his grandfather and peace returned to the land, he was devastated that the woman that raised them passed away. So he created the holiday of Lugnasath, which is a day of August 1st. It's celebrated August 1st. It's the day of celebrating early harvest. And so let's look at this myth and how it aligns with spirituality. So his birth was a prophecy. It was the divine potential born of both chaos and light. But we are born of spirit, and therefore light always comes through. You cannot deny spirit. And Tatyu's labor was a sacrifice that she made for future abundance, the inner clearing to prepare us for our own spiritual growth. In his mastery of everything, it expresses what? The Christ nature in each and every single one of us, in each and every single human being, that mastery, that when it comes from light and we know who and whose we are, it is revealed to us and we can live it and we can share it with others. And so the games that they celebrated on that day, it was spiritual community, co-creativeness. And so this goes back thousands of years, and it's still celebrated today. But you see how these principles have endured. They've endured through religions, Christian religions, Judeo-Christian ethics, all of them. But it's the same story. It's the same story of light and dark, and that spirit will not be denied, and that love comes through. And when love comes through the gifts of nature, the harvest is celebrated. Next, please. This is another story. Has anybody heard of this Lamaze Christians celebrate this in Catholicism? It is a story of first fruits. And so what they do is in August, and it's also celebrated the 1st of August, they take the first grains and oats and it's prayed over. Many hands kneaded into a loaf of bread with prayer, with blessing, and then it's placed upon the altar at Mass. That's where there's, in the history of the word, somewhere is the word loaf and the word Mass. And it's the same idea. So here we find ourselves, at the beginning of August. How are we going to celebrate early harvest within ourselves? This is the theme for our whole month. Next, please. Has anybody ever wondered if there's color in the dark? That argument that goes back and forth. You see, I personally believe, I have always believed, that there is color in the dark. You just don't see it because you need to put the light upon it. If there was no color in the dark, then these gray chairs, every time we turned the light on, they wouldn't be the same color, right? They wouldn't survive the darkness in the same way. And so what happens in the dark? Most ripening happens in the shadows. The Lamaze loaf rises before the dawn. The fruit grows and swells overnight. How often have you gone into your garden, if you grow a garden, or you have beautiful flowers or plants, and in the morning, there's just a beautiful flower or a new piece of fruit. It wasn't there before. And we think it just grows during the sun, but it does happen during the dark times as well. And so our soul oftentimes has grown through those times when there was no one there to applaud it. We are that fruit, that beautiful ripened fruit, that grain that has oftentimes ripened during our own darkness. Next, please. Charles Fillmore. The mind is the seat of perception of the things that we see, hear, and feel. It is through the mind that we see the beauties of the earth and the sky, the music, of art, in fact, everything. So if this is true, which we believe is true, then there is color in the dark. And so if you're going through a period of darkness now, or have in the past, or maybe are borrowing from the future some little element of concern that we call worry, which we shouldn't do at all, then maybe we should realize that this is really the truth of why there's color in the dark. And what happens to the dark when you shine light on it? It is gone. The beautiful colors come through. Next, please. So what holds us back from accepting ourselves in full bloom, ready, blossomed, radiant, ready for early harvest? I don't think it's the lack of spiritual potential, that there's more to go, that we have more work to be done, but it is forgetting who we truly are. And it also, comparison, we sometimes look at others who maybe are spiritually more advanced through the whatever work they've done, or maybe they just have learned how to look like that, and it's really not true. And we think, well, I'm not there. So I'm not ready to be harvested. I'm not ripe enough, and we keep working on ourselves. And I think we should always continue to work on ourselves, but that doesn't mean that because we're not ready. It means that it is human nature, the Spirit expressing in human nature, to always want to get closer and closer and closer to Source. And that's why we continue to do that, not because we are not good enough. Next, please. We often mistake humility for hiding. We've been taught that shining too brightly is prideful. So we dim our light to stay acceptable. We fear the mirror of our own magnificence. How many have done that to keep a relationship? To not go to a family reunion where somebody might go, oh, well, they always such and such, because they feel badly about themselves. But instead of recognizing your accomplishments and the good that you've been able to manifest, they will say things about you that will bring you back down and re-elevate that person. And so remember that we have to shine. You can't hide. You know, the little kids, don't hide it under a bushel. No. We sometimes do that, though, to ourselves as adults, don't we? Because we want to be accepted. But really, who is the most important being that has to accept us? Where does that being live? Right? And so how can you accept yourself when you dim your light and pretend to be less than, in order to be able to be part of something that when you're out of that group, you say, thank goodness, and maybe I'll never go back? I mean, really, we have to be true to Spirit and our authentic selves. And if we allow that to come forward with love and compassion, we elevate others, because this is contagious. Spirit is contagious. When we say the Christ in me honors the Christ in you, when I live that and I look at you and I look at you and I speak to you with love, we all feel elevated. Next, please. We cling to the illusion that it's not time yet. We wait for that perfect moment, for a perfect self, a perfect sign, forgetting that Spirit ripens us in divine timing and not human perfection. The same thing in terms of I'm going to buy the perfect whatever it is, but I haven't seen it yet. I want to take this kind of a trip. I love to travel, but I can't do that, so I won't travel at all. We should not limit Spirit. I'm going to be going back to Mexico at the beginning of this week because our home there has sold. Now, I had trepidations when I accepted this position. I wanted this. I was so excited, but it's like, but where will I live? And I'm in the trailer, but I can't, this isn't going to work forever, but, we can't really afford to buy something else. And so here it is. You just have to go out in faith. And I remember my interview with the board, and I was asked about that question. And so, how are you going to do this? And I said, well, I really don't know. I know that I want to. And then I remembered what they taught me at ministerial school. But faith is not just something for Sunday talks. We have to do it all the time. I'm sure it will work out. And it does. It just does. So divine and perfect timing works on its own. Next, please. We resist the vulnerability of harvest. To be harvested is to be seen. It's to be shared and to be used for a sacred purpose. And that exposure can feel risky. I am talking about being spiritually harvested, sharing your wisdom, sharing your experiences, sharing your love, sharing your previous mistakes as stepping stones to something greater, right? If I was to erase all the mistakes of my life, I wouldn't be in the blessed place that I am now. And I'm not saying that I will not make any more mistakes. Mistakes are our friends. Mistakes are those things that take you where you don't want to go because you really need to go there because it's on the way to where you should go. This is how I feel about mistakes. So let's not be fearful of living our lives. We forget that blossoming is not ego. It is the essence of who we are. When we dim our light, we are denying the Christ within. And full bloom is not self-centeredness. It is God-centeredness made visible. And so, the next one, please. How are we going to do this? How are we going to bring this into the world? How are you going to do this with others? What is your truth or a talent or an insight that's blossomed that you could put to use right now? Whether you're going to go and have a meal and smile at the people around you in a certain way, have a conversation with your server, whether you're going to go on a hike and have a conversation with someone on the path, what are you going to teach? What are you going to volunteer to do? How are you going to uplift others? Not use this as a platform to say, hey, look at me, I'm all done. But how are you going to use this in a sacred, authentic way? Abraham Hicks talks a lot about getting ready to be ready to be ready to be ready. She just goes on with that. And then she says, but you're ready. And so this is really what I want to bring out here today. Spirit, what is mine to bring? So each of you have on your chairs a little piece of paper and a pencil. And do you want to go to the next slide, please? Okay. We are going to go into a meditation where you will be thinking about what it is that you offer as you ripen this. And on the one side, so just so you know what's happening, at one point, I'm going to ask you to write down what your unique and special gift is. And then as we continue, I will ask you to turn it over and ask you to write down how you're going to share it or who you're going to share it with. Maybe it's the gift of forgiveness and someone comes to mind. Maybe it's the gift of joy and someone who's not joyful comes to mind. Maybe it's using our wisdom from years on the planet to speak to young people and to bridge that gap of the age divide, because there really isn't. It's just the path of wisdom. It's the path of wisdom. So I'm going to invite you now, please close your eyes, your outer eyes, and to picture within a beautiful meadow. And this meadow is shimmering in the sun. and it is in full bloom. There are beautiful flowers of all colors, and there are butterflies fluttering around and landing on the tall grasses and on the petals. There are hummingbirds reaching for the nectar and the most colorful of flowers. And this meadow is surrounded by trees. As you look more closely at the trees, you see that they are laden with fruit. Ripe fruits, peaches, apples, so ripe, so beautiful. And you smell the fragrance of the flowers and the fruit and the fresh air. And you just bask in that golden light. And you realize that you too are part of this field of divine completeness. Whatever road has brought you here has been long, and it has had light and dark. But you are not here as an observer. You are here as part of this field of full bloom, full harvest, gifts, spiritual gifts, gifts of nature. And a peace settles over your heart and your inner being. A weight is lifted off your shoulders. And you hear Spirit in the back crevices of your mind, and as it beats through your heart saying, you are ready. You, beloved, are ready. And I invite you now to take a moment or two and write. What does it mean that you're ready? What gift, what spiritual gift has percolated to the front that is ready to present itself through you as you right now? Is it grace, love, wisdom, abundance, art, forgiveness, dance, song? Is it technology? Is it communication? Is it caring for someone? What is your gift? It'll take maybe another 30 seconds for you to finish naming your gift. When you're ready, I invite you to close your outer eyes again and realize that the flowers are a gift to the hummingbirds. Bless you. And that the field is a gift to the butterflies. And maybe some of the fruit is a gift to the birds. And that being there is a gift to you. Being able to release whatever weight was on your shoulder, whatever concern about, oh, there's more to be done, there's more to be done. That is Spirit's gift to you. And so as we live in the world where the law of circulation is the beautiful expression of love in action, I now invite you to think, how will you take your gift and circulate it as love in action? A gift is only a gift if you give it. How will you give it? Who will you give it to? Let the bubbliness of excitement and joy come up within you, even if it comes into little peaks of God bumps, knowing that this is your gift and it has to be given. And whoever gets it will be blessed as much as you will be blessed by sharing it. So I invite you to turn over your little piece of paper and write down, who will you give your gift to? I wouldn't worry about the how. Spirit's got that figured out. But if there is a how connected to the who when it comes to you, don't deny that. Don't think about it, but if it comes forward, bless it and write it. Who will you share your gift with? Who will partake of your love, your wisdom, the Christ in you? The Christ Spirit lives in everybody, but there has to be light, love, wisdom to recognize it and to let it shine. Your gift is that light, love, and wisdom shared with someone. So as we bring this meditation to an end, I invite you to memorialize the scenery, the smells, the feelings of this little journey, and move it into your heart center. If you have an altar at home or sacred place, take the little piece of paper that you wrote your gift on and how you will share it with you. And don't just put it in the everything drawer. Put it someplace where you're going to be reminded, maybe where you meditate or pray in the morning. Maybe use it as a bookmark in whatever it is you're reading. Keep it top of mind and most importantly, top of heart awareness. And next slide, please. So as we wrap up today, I want to wish each and every single one of you the courage of Lug, the radiance of Lamas, an illumined harvest of your inner gifts. And there is color in the dark, so let yourself not be like that which hides its brilliance. Do not be that color that is in the dark. Bring it into the light. Let us shine. Let us share. Let us continue to ripen. And let us know that the world is not only ready, but it is waiting for each and every single one of you. May God bless you. Namaste.